Good morning. Welcome back to the Broadcast Retirement Network. This is BRN AM for Thursday, July 25th, 2024. And our top story today, providing career services and educational opportunities for adults with autism. And joining me now to discuss this and a lot more, Dr. Tara Beams is the superintendent for the Henry Hudson Regional School District. Dr. Beams, it's so great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us on the program this morning.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Let's talk about, I want to ask you about Achieve Academy, but I want to set up the context here. How difficult is it for adults with autism, neurodivergent adults, to take that next step, they graduate from high school, they graduate from college, and they're trying to find a career. How difficult is it for them to find something that they like to do?
I think it's really difficult. I think that there's a couple reasons why. Obviously, through an individual's preschool through 12 or preschool 12 plus education, there's a lot of built-in supports, right? For the families, you have your entire school district behind you, case managers, teachers, paraprofessionals, everybody, right? And there's all of these supports, and it's our job in K-12 education to make sure that those needs are being met in whatever way that they possibly can be. And for the most part, you know those individuals for multiple years. So you're constantly changing as an individual changes and develops. So, and the families feel completely supported. You know that you have that built-in safety net from your child's school for most of those formative and developmental years. And then they turn 21 and now have to navigate a really, really confusing landscape. And let's face it, there's not a lot of opportunities because I still think that there is not a great deal of understanding of the capabilities and the amazing assets that individuals with disabilities or neurodivergent individuals can bring to our community. So I still, because they're in kind of that K-12 bubble for so long, and then all of a sudden we're like, here you go, out here, into the community, and those safety nets are taken away. I think it's really, really difficult. I think that we have to do a better job of training our workforce to welcome individuals with disabilities into the workplace so that they can be productive, and then obviously continue to work with our individuals with disabilities to make sure that they have the skill set necessary. And that's not like just the ins and outs and ABCs of what do I do when I'm on the job, but what are my social skills? How do I communicate? How do I advocate? What levels of support do I need? And those are things that I think, as typical people still struggle with, right? What supports do I need? How do I communicate? How do I advocate for myself? And we've kind of been doing it our whole lives, and that's just a natural expectation. So I do think it's complicated, and there still needs to be a lot of work in that area.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the key word, what I hear from you, and I hear we've covered some of the similar topic around this issue. It's acceptance. And we're all different, we're all unique, and it's about accepting people who maybe appear different in some way, but they're really not. They're human beings. They breathe, they go to they eat and sleep and all that kind of stuff. Look, I was 21 once, and I remember how difficult it was when I got out of school to figure out what I wanted to do. And some would argue, and my mother and mommy, who's probably watching the show, would argue, I still haven't figured it out. And so I remember how difficult it was. And I can only imagine putting myself in the shoes of someone who is neurodivergent. It's a challenge. It's even more of a challenge for them.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like you said, I think we've all gone through kind of, and maybe still are continuing to go through what am I good at? What are my weaknesses? What are my strengths? How do I find where I fit? Is this the right workplace community for me? And that's hard enough to navigate on our own. I think the other piece of it is that at some point, we also have independent skills outside of the workplace, right? We understand that at some point we're going to have to provide for ourselves and maybe for a family one day, but at the very least, we're going to have to provide for ourselves. And we have to have the means to do that. So there's also this understanding of kind of the global community that we all fit into, that at some point, like you just said, you cut the apron strings with your parents, and there's this expectation that we can all go out there on our own and be okay, be able to make a living, be able to live in our homes independently, feed ourselves, clothe ourselves, care for ourselves, make sure that we're getting medical attention, all of those other things. So it's not just about like where you fit in terms of an employment standpoint. Sometimes that's this much of the concern. It's all of those other pieces, because let's be honest, as we all continue to age, at some point we know that our parents or our guardians or those that have cared for us for our lives may not be here anymore.
Yeah.
I'm pretty secure in myself that I've been able to take care of myself, and when that horrible day comes that my parents are no longer here, I'm not dependent on anybody else to take care of myself.
And is it your sense in talking with parents and guardians that they have some nervousness around their children? I mean, look, I'm 52 years old and I talk to my parents every day, and I think they still think of me as a little boy with hair, and they're dressing me. But so I can understand, they want to lean in, they want me to be successful. But in your experience, are parents of neurodiverse children, are they concerned about their future?
Oh, 100%. I mean, in the work that Linda Jordan and I did when we were working at the Shore Center for Students with Autism, I think that as our students became 14, 15, 16 years old and hit that kind of milestone of, okay, 21 is coming faster than we're ready to deal with, it is this anxiety of, how will my children live an independent life? And what happens if, God forbid, we're not here anymore to make those decisions for them, to help guide them, especially depending on the level of their disability. So that's a very real fear. I mean, just like it's a real fear. I have an 18-year-old, right? An almost 18-year-old. It's a real fear for me, period.
Sure.
I think anybody that has children or anybody who has parents knows that you're never not a parent, right? But there is a sense of security that I have that my child will take those typical steps. They don't have that sense of security. And as we said in the first question, this is not a welcoming society. We're not really equipped sometimes as a community to have individuals that don't have that same level of independence kind of working and living among us, and not because of anything malicious or any kind of ill intent. It's not everybody, like you said, when we first met, we don't have that training. We don't have that level of expertise. There's just not that understanding. So it's not a lack of that we don't want to accept. It's a lack of just understanding how to accept and what those needs are and how you meet those needs. And so I think that is an added layer of fear, absolutely, that parents have.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Beams, I need to take a very quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Achieve Academy and the educational and career resources that are available for neurodivergent individuals. You're going to want to stay tuned right here on BRN AM. Now is your opportunity to co-create content around any topic on the First Lifestyle and Wellness Network. Reach a global audience through our platform and co-own exclusive branded content. All of our programs are available on demand and also as audio-only podcasts, so you can take us on the go. Broadcast Retirement Network, available anytime, anywhere, and on any device. Welcome back. We're joined this morning by the Superintendent of the Henry Hudson Regional School District, Dr. Tara Beams. Dr. Beams, thanks so much for staying with us this morning.
No problem. I'm happy to be here. It's an important topic.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about Achieve Academy. would you mind taking us back and talk about the founding? And then we can get into what it does and whatnot. So tell us about the founding. Why is this necessary?
Sure. So I have had the privilege to work with the Monmouth Ocean Foundation for Children over the last 7 to 8 years. I became involved in this organization, in this foundation, when I was the superintendent of Monmouth Ocean Ed Services Commission and the Bayshore Jointure Commission. And we ran a school for children with autism. The Monmouth Ocean Foundation for Children has been committed since the early 1990s to making sure that there's funding in place for schools that serve students with special needs. And I would say about 10 to 12 years ago, their focus became solely on the autistic population and making sure that there were resources in place for this population. So in working with them, one of our goals at the Shore Center had always been what happens to our students, our kids, when they turn 21 and they leave our doors. It's scary for anybody, but then where are they going? And is there a quality program where they can continue to excel and to learn and to reinforce the skills they need to be really, really productive members of our society? So I became involved about 7 to 8 years ago with the foundation, and I knew that this was one of their goals. And I say, like, one day I just had the pleasure of being sent to a meeting because someone else was absent. And this has kind of turned into my labor of love since that moment to help the foundation achieve this goal. So for the last 7 to 8 years, we've had a group of purely volunteers working in Monmouth County with various backgrounds, from all walks of life, coming together to kind of make this a reality. And our goal was always to open a post-21 continuing education program that really focused on the community-based skills, the essential life skills that individuals would need to become productive members of the community. So started off kind of with, this pipe dream and a bunch of people sitting around and saying, all right, how do we do this? We've had a lot of starts and stops and failures and successes along the way. There were a lot of late night phone calls of, I really don't think we can do this. Like, it's a really lofty goal, but who are we? Like, do we really have the expertise to do this? Where are we going to get the funding from? We're all just volunteers. We all have full-time jobs and careers and other, affiliations and organizations that we work for. And I've been really fortunate to work with Commissioner Tom Arnone from the Monmouth County Commissioners, Gary Goldfarb, who is the chair of our board, who have been integral in kind of pushing this forward and making sure, first and foremost, that we had funding in place. And we've been really, really blessed to have generous donors who have seen our vision, supported our vision, and gotten us to this place. We were really fortunate. Dr. David Stout, who's the president of Brookdale Community College, served on our board for a while, and he has been such an outstanding partner in securing us a location, making sure that there is a robust partnership with Brookdale Community College so that we have some already established roots so that we can build our foundation there. So it's really been the hard work of all of these volunteers that have gotten us to this point. So all along, we've just there's been a small group of us driving that this is really important. Despite, any setbacks, we're going to keep pushing through. We had a really great, generous donation from the Fran and Paul Turner Foundation, which really catapulted us into the next phase of everything. We've had incredible support in terms of grants and other means of support to get us to this place. And so, we've worked really hard, and now we're really excited to finally say that we believe our dream is a reality. First it was the space. Where is this, just like finding a house, like where are we getting this space and how much money is that going to cost us? And once we had that commitment from Brookdale and we were able to see a location, we were able to see our dream. We then hired our executive director who started with us July 1, Linda Jordan, who is a great asset to us. And she's really the boots on the ground now doing the day-to-day work. It's not just kind of when a volunteer has time to devote to this, to make this a reality and put all of the other pieces in place for us to hopefully have a opening in 2025.
And just to follow up on that, if I'm a parent, do I need to live near the center? So you're in this great state of New Jersey, the Garden State. Do I need to live in New Jersey, or can I access, like if I have a child and I live in North Carolina, as an example, can I access the tools and resources that you're making available to your local students, or do those individuals need to go elsewhere to find similar services in their state?
So this would be a New Jersey-based program, primarily in the Monmouth and Ocean County areas, because transportation is required. And as we all know, transportation is an expensive piece of this. We are looking at kind of that geographic area to serve right now, which is why the Wall campus of Brookdale was really ideal for us, because we could really serve both Monmouth and Ocean counties from a more centralized location. It also, all of the approvals would be regulated through the state of New Jersey, so that it is through the state of New Jersey. New Jersey residents would work with their service providers through DDD to have their, how their programming works for them. Obviously, there's individual families that also we can work within our system, but this is a New Jersey-based program, mostly within Monmouth and Ocean County because of transportation. And I think anybody would agree that hopefully there's more and more programs that pop up throughout the state of New Jersey. Maybe one day in the future, it's ours that we expand throughout of the state of New Jersey, so there is more access. But right now, that's the geographic location that we'd be working within.
And you mentioned the relationship with Brookdale Community College. I have to think that, look, employers, from what I've read, small businesses, mid-sized businesses, large businesses, they're looking for staff. They're looking for people. So I would imagine that, not you in particular, but the organization would be interested in having employers come in local to the state and say, hey, this is the type of person that I'm looking for. I could see a real not-for-profit, for-profit partnership here to help drive opportunities. I mean, and part of career education and learning about careers is placement. So I have to think that would be maybe a possibility in the future.
Yeah, so I think that works both ways. And Dr. Stout has been really generous in making sure that there are pathways for not only some of their current students that maybe are neurodivergent to possibly who, will need some place to go even after their Brookdale learning experience is over and they would need some skills reinforced. They could be a part of our program as well. But the other great part of it is that they want to use our program as a way to train future technicians within the field of autism or special education. And I think that speaks to building that greater awareness, right? Having a program like this where our adults are able to interact with other college students, professionals that are training in those fields, really understanding the needs, and then they are going out into their own fields and into the workforce with a greater understanding of this population, helps open those doors, helps not us think in, okay, well, if I hire someone with a disability, what are their limitations? But instead, what skill set do they bring where I can make them a really productive part of my workforce, where I may be having a hard time finding someone to fill some of these positions, that this is a great opportunity. So I think that the learning piece is twofold, right? Not just for our individuals or our clients that are going to be learning in our program, but also those from the college who are coming into our program to learn more about this population so that they can take their understanding out in the workplace and they can spread that understanding and that acceptance into our larger workforce. So I think that it's twofold, right? And it benefits on both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, congratulations on your successes and to your future successes. And Dr. Beans, we look forward to having you back on the program again very soon.
Thank you so much for having us, and thank you for spreading the word on this important topic.
That wraps up this episode of BRNAM. Have a topic of interest, someone you think we should talk to? Drop us a line, and don't forget, for all the latest curated news and lifestyle, wellness, finance, tech, so much more, all in one place, check out today's edition of our daily newsletter, The Morning Pulse. Want to search our archives, check out our latest content? Then visit our website. Hey, we're back again tomorrow for another edition of BRNAM. We'll have a very special guest and another important topic. Until then, I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes. Now is your opportunity to co-create content around any topic on the First Lifestyle and Wellness Network. Reach a global audience through our platform and co-own exclusive branded content. All of our programs are available on demand and also as audio-only podcasts, so you can take us on the go. Broadcast Retirement Network, available anytime, anywhere, and on any device.